بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب زدني علما.
So in this session we are going to see the complete combination of all the things what we did in our previous videos. Now when it comes to physical topology, it is still the same what we are doing, the same physical topology. So router switch 1, switch 2 connecting between them on F0 by 24. There is no connection for 23 in my topology which I'm using. If you want, you can add, and all F0 by 0s are connecting on switch 1, and all F0 by 1s are connecting to switch 2, and F0 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are connecting to router 1, router 2, router 3, router 4, router 5 respectively. So the same way. So now by this time I expect you to know and remember this topology, because in this example I'm not getting into this topology here, so I'll directly draw the diagrams here itself. So now I got a mixture of all the labs here. I'll try to fix one by one. Here you can see I got router 1 connecting to router 2 and router 5 and router 3 and switch 1, which is just I'm using switch 1 as well as my router interface, maybe SVI, or it can be a no switch port here. You can see I'm just trying to mix up everything here. So this is something you can expect in your CCI lab exams. This is one kind of similar topology you'll find where you are supposed to make sure that your layer 2 should be up. Now I'm going to do everything from the scratch. I got a same topology here in my packet tracer program, and I erased each and everything. So it's like all the routers are not at all configured with anything, and there is no pre-requirement here except the connectivity part. So I erased each and everything whatever I did in my previous scenarios. So even when you start this lab, I suggest you to erase each and every configurations and just start with the blank configurations here. So start with any one, probably where we want to start. Any one side you can start. So let us start with from here, router 3 to router 5. So I'll start from the bottom here, router 3 to router 5. So I'm going to take this connection which is connecting between router 3 is connecting to router 5. I'll start with this one first, and if you try to see here, router 3 and 5 are connecting to each other on F0 by 1 interface. So both the sides it is F0 by 1, and this is also F0 by 1. So as per our default topology, F0 by 1 interfaces are facing towards switch 2. So I'll see here how they're physically connected here. So router 3 is connecting to switch 2, and router 5 is also connecting to switch 2, and this is router 3, so it will be F0 by 3 here, and this is router 5, so it will be F0 by 5. So I have to make sure that these two ports, F0 by 3 and F0 by 5, should be part of the same VLAN. So this is very simple here. So it's very simple what we did. So let us directly jump to my configurations here. So I'll go to router 3 first. This is my router 3. On the right side you can see the diagram, the physical topology. So I'm changing the host name here, and then I'll go to my interface F0 by 1. I'll try to assign the IP address as 10.0.35.3 255.255.255.0, and then no shutdown command. Okay, so if you want, you can save the configurations, and then I'll do the same thing on the router 5 also. So I'll jump to router 5. This is my router 5 CLI command line, and then on the router 5 I'll change the host name, and then on the interface F0 by 1. Let me check, did I do the same thing on the here? So yeah, so I was just checking because I thought I configured on F0 by 0, but it's F0 by 1, so it's right. So I'm going to say IP address 10.0.35.5 with the /24 subnet mask. Done. So if I verify on both the routers, I did the pre-configuration, so I'm just moving much faster here because I expect you to know these things. We already did some basic scenarios in our previous videos. And the last thing I need to do is I need to configure this F0 by 3 on switch 2 and F0 by 5 of switch 2 must be part of the same VLAN. So I'll go to switch 2 because they're connecting from the other end getting into switch 2 here, I'll say host name is switch 2. I'll say interface range f0 by 3 comma f0 by 5. So I'm going to say switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 35. Done. So now if I verify show VLAN, I can see port number 3 and 5 are part of the same broadcast domain. Now the final thing is I need to verify from the router 5 I should be able to ping to router 3 interface. So I'll try to ping 10.0.35.3 from the router 5. I'm trying to ping to router 3 IP address. Now I should see the reply should come up. If not coming, then there should be some problem. Let us see what is the problem here. So some troubleshooting we need to do. So if you see here, it's 10.0.34.5 and the interface status is up and up. So hopefully we don't have any problem on the router. And let us check on the router 3 part also. So it's just a matter of time. You need to give some time for convergence probably. Let me try one more time. 35.5. Now this time I should be able to ping here. You can see it's pinging. It's pinging, which confirms that your connectivity between router 3 and router 5 is perfect. So this is a very simple scenario which we did in our first lab. So I'm going to erase this part. Okay, so we'll move to the next. So our next part is, so we fixed this one. This part we fixed. I'm getting into my other configurations. Let us move towards this side. Router 3 to switch 1, this connection. Let us try to fix that. So I'll draw the diagram here. So now router 3 is connecting to router, it's not router, it's a switch. So switch 1, okay, and now what is the port? It's f0 by 0 on this side, you can see here, and on the other end I did not write the port, but it's f0 by 3, so don't worry, it's f0 by 3 only. I don't have that in my diagram, so but it's f0 by 3. Now I want to make sure that if you try to see here, now here the port is not written. Probably there are two possible solutions. I'll discuss those two possible solutions, because in your CCI lab exams you may be using your switches as routers also, which means they are layer 3. Now IP address we are using 10.0.36, so the switch 1 will be 6.36.x/24. and now to make sure that they should be able to ping to each other, now we need to assign the IP address on this interface. And because you see here, this is logically physically both are same, because router 3 f0 by 0, they both are similar. So physically also we have the same connection, logically also we have the same connection. There is no intermediate devices in between. So what we need to do is, one option is whether we can go to this port and we can give a command called no switch port. That is one solution, and then we can assign the IP address on that, and we can have a connectivity between router 3 and switch 1. That is one solution which we can move on. And the other possible solution is, what we can do is, I can go to this f0 by 3, I can configure this port into VLAN. What's a VLAN? Any VLAN you can use. Let's say I'm using VLAN 36, and I can assign the IP address to VLAN 36. Now this port will be an access port for VLAN 36. This is the second solution which I'm talking about. So there are two possible solutions. So I'm just discussing both the solutions for your understanding, and then we can assign the IP address to the SVI interface. Now in my scenario I'll be using 10.0.36.6/24 subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and the no shutdown command anyway not required. So it's another solution. So either you can configure this f0 by 3 port into access port and assign the IP address to SVI, or you can, if it is a direct connection, then you can even use is as a layer 3 port by using a no switch port command. So either I can follow the first solution or the second solution. So in my scenario I can go with any one, so I'm going with the first one here, because anyway the other end I'm using that SVI part. So I'll directly go to my interface, I'll go with this solution directly here. Okay, so if you want you can try the alternate one, but I'm not doing it here because anyway I'm using SVI on the other end. Okay, So I'm getting into the configurations here. So I'm going with the first solution here. Let us jump to my router 3. So I got my router 3 here. On the router 3, F0 by 0 port. You can see on the F0 by 0 port on the left side. So I'm going to verify my IP addressing. So F0 by 0 is not configured. I'm going to assign the IP address with F0 by 0, and the IP address I'm going to use 10.0.36.3 with /24 subnet mask. And then I'm going to give no shutdown command and save the configurations. And if I check show CDP neighbor, so whenever you have any doubt, you can always check show CDP neighbor, and the other end is connecting to F0 by 3, that is switch 1 again. So this part you can see it's a logical, physical, it's the same connection. So I'm getting into my switch 1 now, my switch 1. So I'm getting into switch 1 console screen here. On the switch 1, I'm going to give interface F0 by 3. I'll simply say no switch port. I'm changing my layer 2 port into layer 3 port by using this command, and then I'm going to assign the IP address as 10.0.36.6 with /24 subnet mask. Anyway, by default the interface is in no shutdown state, not required. Now finally I'll try to verify show IP interface brief. You can see now F0 by 3 interface is a layer 3 interface with an IP address, and then I'll try to ping 10.0.36.3. I should be able to ping. You can see the communication is happening. So this is one more method, or you can try the second method also. I'm not using the second method here as of now because anyway I'll be using in my next examples. Okay.